This is Investment Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Daily live streaming interactive. Featuring Mrs. Backup. Subscribe, hit the notification, smash the likes. Now, here's Backup Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back, everybody in the XRP community. Thanks for coming back to Investment Perspectives. I'm Bradley Kimes. You can follow me on Twitter at Backup Bradley right there at the top. I wanted to make a quick video here to talk about a few things of lately that have become a narrative, and also talk about something that was a narrative a few months ago that's kind of gone away. But I want to bring it back up as a conversation to see if we can get anybody out there in the community that may have some information or insight on it, and see if we can find out whether it's something that's still relevant or not. And that's debt cancellation. Yeah, on a global level. Okay, now before we get into that, I want to talk about some recent events and things that we've seen come out. And the first thing I want to start with is the fact that we've heard this word federated. Now we know that Ripple's consensus and algorithm and RippleNet is federated. We've known that, right? But let's talk about this document here that I'm going to show you. Let me open this up. The International Telecommunication Union, Financial Inclusion Global Initiative, Fiji. This is just recently released last November of 2019. And it's important to know that, right? Security Infrastructure and Trust Working Group. Now, this I understand is a part of the United Nations. And the International Telecommunication Union has been around since apparently 1865, according to Mr. B XRP. Thank you for that information, my friend. And then I want to go to this part of the document right here, where it breaks down the different types of consensus protocol DLT types, okay? And if we look at public here in the first category, they show Bitcoin, Ethereum, Zcash, Monero, Siacoin. We look here, it shows public proof of stake, right? And the first one's proof of work. Tendermint Ethereum in the proof of stake. And then public delegate proof of stake is LISC. And then here we have public again, delegate proof of stake. Oh, no, I'm sorry, delegate. This is proof of elapsed time, Hyperledger Sawtooth, and that's a private access. Here's private access, practical Byzantine fault tolerance, Hyperledger Fabric, Hyperledger Indy, and Hyperledger Aurora, I think it is, if I'm saying that right. And here is this word federated, Ripple consensus algorithm, Ripple payment system, and cryptocurrency. Now, it's interesting, federated. Let's look at what federated actually means. This is a really great definition in the context of software development. I've seen it a few ways, but it generally means to unify disparate pieces of something, APIs, other systems, and subsystems, into a larger component. In distributed systems, for instance, this may mean to reveal a partitioned data store as a single logical unit, addressable as such. In the context of access control systems, it usually means to control in a centralized way, or to unify the definition and distribution of access controls for various systems. Listen to this. A federation layer in application may unify underlying systems or adapt them to look as a single unified system. Now, for most of you, you know I've been leaning into this for a long time, that the protocols, the ILP and the XRP ledger, and there may be other protocols adopted as well, but I believe specifically these two become adopted as public good used by the entire financial system of the world, and also as the new layers and bedrocks, a trust layer to build on top of for the Internet of Value. Now, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that I am. And we go to Glenn Hutchins' comment, when he talked about the value is in the protocol, not the token. The price of the token is a distraction and uninformative. Because I believe he said that because until the protocols are adopted, you're not going to see the reflection of value in the token. Because the true utility that is going to move through the protocols and on top of the protocols in their private networks, centralized networks that are built on top of the protocols. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means imagine you building your own private online business on top of the layers of protocol that currently exist that make up the internet right now. This is exactly what they're describing, what is being described here. And the protocol for Ripple and the ILP and the XRP ledger absolutely fit those federated definitions. Okay, so there's that. Now let's go to this. Yesterday, David Schwartz spoke at a Developer Week conference, and this is the phrase that was taken from his talk. Right here. He said, it's the connections between silos that we need to federate. Yep. Now, shout out to David Schwartz, who's absolutely brilliant. I've done a whiteboard on this and talked about how the early days, where we are right now in the crypto space is very analogous to where we were in the early days of the internet, when you had Netscape, NetZero, AOL, and you would join one of those networks and that was your internet. And whatever you did on there was inside of AOL's world or Netscape's world or so on and so on. Until these other layers of protocol that were federated allowed all of these other networks to be together and unified in one single unit, or to appear as one single unit, becoming the internet that you and I have now. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. I don't see how you can have any regulations come out without having a virtual framework that is adopted and deemed the public good, or the virtual framework protocols that are built on as trust layers that will become the digital asset space, that will become the protocols and bed layers for the internet of value. I think we're on the precipice of watching this be adopted right in front of our eyes. Now, there's another combination to this that's pretty interesting because, you know, back in October, we heard talk about debt cancellation. Debt cancellation. Really? Is this something that's even real? I want to go back to a video that I did, and this is back in October 17, 2019. Okay, so this was, I think, just before we went to the Vegas conference, I believe. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this gentleman is speaking at an IMF conference, I believe, or something like that nature. And I think he's a foreign minister to a country or a leader or head of a bank or some nation. He's a very important person. Let's just get that out of the way. Let's listen to what he says about debt cancellation and when he says the debt cancellation will take place. Let's hear what the gentleman says.
From the president on down, to be able to reach a decision point. You know what the decision point means. It is very important that we reach that. That means that it is a day our creditors and our partners will decide that Somalia has traveled enough, and therefore we'll sit down and talk about cancelling the debt.
Hello. What did you just say? Let me back that up a second. Let him roll right in there.
From the president on down, to be able to reach a decision point. You know what the decision point means. It is very important that we reach that. That means that it is a day our creditors and our partners will decide that Somalia has traveled enough, and therefore we'll sit down and talk about cancelling the debt.
Then he fixes it.
Managing the debt, doing something with the debt.
Managing the debt, doing something with the debt. They're trying to walk her back here, you know. Yeah. Woo-wee. Ixnay on the cancel debt, you know what I mean? Wasn't supposed to say the cancel debt, you know. This guy's going to end up in the same unemployment line as Daniel Masters from the Future of Finance Conference. Remember him? Ripple, we know, will be out and out regulated. You know what I mean? There's, you know, he got that moment. Now we got this guy standing in the same unemployment line. That's what's getting ready to happen here. God bless him. You know, somebody's got to make the sacrifice. You know what I mean? Off to the soup kitchen you go. But you know what? We're all grateful because we need to hear stuff like that. You know, better for us. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? At least we got to hear it. You know. Oh my goodness. Now listen, watch what happens. XRP Panic says continue playing the video. There's more. You know what? I'm going to then. I'm going to do it because I know XRP Panic's the real deal Holyfield. Let me get it. Is it right after? Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
What happens. And that is February next year. Is what we have.
Whoa! There it is right there. February next year. Well, I don't have to remind you. It's February 14th. It's Valentine's Day. So this gets more interesting by the day, ladies and gentlemen. What, if anything, is going to take place to complement all the other things that we're currently seeing take place? Let me take you back now to another clip that's very, very interesting and compelling here. Now, we know that they're about to roll out new requirements for FinCEN for crypto, right? Now, real quick, here's a clip from a share from a tweet from XRP Crypto Wolf. Shout out to XRP Crypto Wolf. President Trump's nominee to the Federal Reserve Board, Judy Shelton, told lawmakers, that digitizing the U.S. dollar could help maintain the USD's ascendancy in global commerce. There we go. Shelton said the U.S. needs fintech innovation to stay ahead of other countries. Let's keep it going. And this is a good one right here from Jack the Rippler and Steve Mnuchin. Check out what's being said in this exchange right here. Think of this. Knowing that the Secret Service, which originally started at the U.S. Treasury, and they do handle money crimes, okay? They don't just protect the president and other important figures in the government. They also deal with money crimes, so that's not new. But having them move back to the U.S. Department of Treasury to handle this new digital world that we're going to be in for digital currency is a pretty important thing. Listen to this exchange here about what's coming up with the in respect to cryptocurrencies. Listen.
Mr. Secretary, when you testified to this committee last year about the Treasury's budget, I spoke about the importance of robustly funding Treasury Department programs that combat terrorist funding streams and other forms of illicit financing. I am pleased to see that the 2021 Treasury budget proposes increased funding for the Office of Terrorism and Financial Intelligence and for the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. These offices play a vital role in combating emerging national security threats. For example, terrorists and other transnational criminal organizations are increasingly using cryptocurrencies to finance their activities, due in no small part to the difficulty inherent in tracing these transactions and tying funds to specific actors. Mr. Secretary, how will the Treasury's proposed budget increases assist the department in monitoring suspicious cryptocurrency transactions and prosecuting terrorists and other criminal organizations financing illicit activities with cryptocurrency?
Well, first of all, thank you, and thank the committee for the generous support on us funding increases in these areas over the last several years. We've really built up a very dedicated career staff, and specifically on cryptocurrencies, we are spending a lot of time on this on both an interagency basis and with the regulators. We're about to roll out some significant new requirements at FinCEN. We want to make sure that technology moves forward, but on the other hand, we want to make sure that cryptocurrencies aren't used for the equivalent of old Swiss secret number bank accounts. So we share your concerns, and you'll be seeing a lot of work coming out very quickly.
Well, thank you, and I would look
very quickly, he says. Okay, so things are moving very quickly now. I find this very compelling that we are seeing the requirements, the legislation from international levels, as we've looked at. The World Economic Forum also created what? What did they create? And let's not forget this, okay? Because this is amazing too. Let me see if I can find this really quick before we go, because this is really pertinent too. Let me find this here. 1 second. And here it is right here. That's right. The Policymaker Toolkit. The Policymaker Toolkit, which, by the way, is really a protocol framework, okay? This is what was given to everybody at the World Economic Forum. And there's 28 pages in here, and I'm telling you right now, this is pretty powerful stuff. When you look at the fact that it shows the use of JP Morgan coin and XRP right here to settle, designed for inter and intra-bank payments and settlements, right there. Now, they didn't write that in the toolkit for everybody to use as a framework to go back to their respective countries, so it would be not true. All I'm saying is that we keep seeing this international level of decision-making framework, requirements and regulations, and then very quickly, as Steve Mnuchin says, the domestic level coming and following behind it, and always in respect to the international decisions and guidelines that come out. That is where we are on this day, and I don't mind telling you, it's a pretty exciting day to me. I don't know about you, but adding in this other element that I have really kind of forgotten about, where does debt cancellation, does it still fit in? Is it still relevant? And is there any more information out here that we can collectively find that gives us a further clarification on just how impactful, if at all, debt cancellation can be? All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Hit that like and subscribe. And don't forget to tune in at 10 o'clock this morning. We are going to have none other than co-host Cryptopolis on the show this morning, and it is going to be straight fire. I hope you all have a great day. Hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let's keep this conversation going. I'll catch you on the next one.